Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I wanted to kick things off with CNET's review of the Razer phone. No, not the old Motorola Razer. This Android phone is built by the laptop maker Razer and features a bunch of high-end specs. It's also big and built like a tank. But the marquee feature is a display that refreshes 120 times a second, or twice as fast as most phones, which gives it this illusion that it's buttery smooth and faster than anything else out in the competition. We've looked at the review. What do you think?
Sean Hollister does a good job of really saying the good and the bad about this phone. Apparently, the camera is meh, the battery is meh, but if you are going to use it for gaming,
right,
then maybe they're going to find their interested customers.
Which
for
is,
this phone.
I think, why I'm a little skeptical about this phone. One, I mean, Razer is a known brand among video game makers. It is not a mass consumer brand, so I don't know how many people are really clamoring for a phone made by a video game laptop maker.
Okay, that's I mean you're right about that.
The other thing is, yeah, it's kind of big and bulky.
Okay, what do you think about the fact that it's bringing back the Nextbit Rubin look?
Yeah.
So Nextbit was purchased by Razer, I think earlier this year, if I'm right.
And just for additional background, Nextbit, its claim to fame was it tapped Thomas, one of the original Android guys, Mike Chan, also another Android guy, as well as Scott Croyle, who was the HTC design engineer who created the HTC One. So there was a lot of hype behind that company. It got bought by Razer, and this is the first product that's come out of that cooperation. It's kind of cool. I think I like the fact that Nextbit is kind of living on in this phone, but at least this particular first entry, like you mentioned, Sean sort of has some issues with this, right? The camera's not as great, battery life's not as great.
Right. They make it interesting for gamers again. So the screen is supposed to be really good, and it's also got Dolby powered speakers that front face. Is going back to just my general view on phones, is that this is a different phone. Yeah. You know, kind of like the Moto phones are different phones. That doesn't mean that like the Moto is for everybody. It obviously isn't. Right. But at least we're getting to a point, to a certain extent, with phones where it's not all the same black slabs.
Well, though, this is a giant black slab.
Okay, fine. It's a giant black slab with a few features that are different than the other giant black slabs.
I will say, though, that the fact that it's marketed as a gaming phone, I don't think even Razer would really push that too hard, because truthfully, how many games are out there that really need all these high-end specs? I mean,
Clash Royale, obviously. It's a game I play constantly.
I mean, I'm still playing Simpsons Tapped Out. That does not need a special processor. What? I know.
Oh man, that takes me back.
Yeah. I mean, I've got an old PC version of the Civilization game loaded up on my phone.
Nice.
Or not PC, but it's the console version.
And it'll be amazing on the Razer phone.
It works just fine on my iPhone and on an Android phone. So
okay.
Also, the typical Android phone.
It's $700, by the way. So they're definitely pricing it as a flagship.
Oh yeah. All right, next up, we wanted to wish a happy birthday to the text message, which turned 25 on Sunday.
Yippee.
The first text message was sent on December 3rd, 1992 by a British engineer who basically sent it via computer to a mobile device. And you have to imagine how clunky that mobile device was back in 1992.
What was the first text message? You want me to say it?
Say it.
It's Merry Christmas, which... granted, people still say today, as opposed to ahoy hoy, which was the first thing that was said on a telephone from Alexander Graham Bell.
It's a little bit more memorable.
Yes.
Yeah.
So ahoy hoy to everybody.
It's interesting that we've gotten to the point. I know there are a lot of studies about how we rather text than call people now. I find actually I've used text messages less because I tend to use either iMessage or Facebook Messenger, Line, WhatsApp. There's so many more messaging apps.
Yeah, but and I would say that the text message is, the forefather of all of those things.
For sure.
All of those things stand on the shoulders of the original text messages. So.
In fact, I'm one of those folks who's annoyed now when I have my iMessage blue bubble burst into green when one non-iPhone person comes in. I'm like, you broke the chain. You broke the chain.
Unbelievable.
I know. I'm really annoying. All right. For those stories and more, check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Cheng.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
Thanks for listening.
All right, welcome back, everybody. That's the end of the recording of the podcast. I'm going to go ahead and start filtering through the chat to see if we got any good questions or comments for the guys. In the meantime, let's start right off. We got a comment here from Jorge. He says, Razer was the first phablet.
Okay.
Would you agree to that?
I have to. I am always impressed with our viewership.
Wait.
That they might know.
This current Razer phone is
the first phablet? No. That Razer made the first phablet. I think that was.
We might have to check the archives for the actual historical records on that one.
I'm checking right now.
I mean, generally, Samsung is the first to popularize the idea of a phablet with their Galaxy Note line. I think Dell had a 5-inch phone that like nobody bought, which I think, for me at least, my memory was the first jumbo phone that came out there. It was actually, they might not even have marketed a phone. It might have been marketed as a tablet.
Okay, there's maybe the viewer is talking about the Razer Edge, which is a Swiss Army gaming tablet.
Back in 2013.
Yeah, which I think Samsung probably predates that anyway, but this is definitely a wacky looking tablet because it's got like controller handles on the side.
Good lord.
There it is.
What a beast.
Yeah, but like that's Razer for you, is that if it's optimized for gaming, they're going to do it, even if it physically looks weird or clunky. And it goes back to their phone, too. Their phone is like a big, chunky, heavy phone. But if you want to use it for gaming or maybe for like watching movies.
A lot of their laptops and computers are like that, too.
And I mean, look at the Nintendo Switch now.
I would just say that, just for the record, the original Samsung Galaxy Note came out October 29th, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
I'm curious as to if anyone out there has actually tried the Razer Edge and what your experience with it is, and maybe how it stacks up to like a Nintendo Switch nowadays.
Right.
That's just funky.
I don't think I've ever seen a Razer Edge out in the
wild.
Public, which
I don't
to
think
me
that's
means,
something you take in the public. I feel like you're just
But it's a
asking
tablet.
you're just asking to get mugged if you're playing that thing on the subway. You're
Somebody's
like,
gonna
this
get you a
giant
wet
box.
willy.
I don't know what that is, but it's clearly valuable, and I'm gonna steal it now.
You don't know what a wet willy is?
No, damn it, the Edge.
No, the Edge. He's gonna.
If I'm the mugger and I'm looking at someone with an Edge, I don't know what that thing is, but it's clearly expensive, and I'm gonna take it.
All right. William Jolly in the chat is actually looking forward to this Razer phone, as I'm sure a lot of people are. If you are going to pursue it, we'll have more on the review throughout the day. If you do actually pick one up, we'd love to hear your like direct feedback, like for a horse. We'd love to hear your direct feedback as hands-on as users, because we have our stipulations as what we have to follow for the reviews. And Sean did a really fun review.
Sean, who's in San Francisco. So no, we didn't touch the phone. We didn't
not
look
here
at the phone.
specifically.
Yeah.
We're regurgitating his words to you.
Yes,
and he's the one that spent all the time with it. So yeah,
and he's also, I mean, he's a gamer, so he appreciates the Razer. Like that's the thing. Like not all phone reviewers, I think, are necessarily fans of the company or like, know about Razer gaming laptops. So he had really good perspective on that.
Yeah, and I think that you would probably have to be a pretty big Razer fan to go for this thing, because a camera is a big reason why a lot of people get a phone, and the fact that it's not that good in low light, but it's still a $700 phone.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was a little bit cheaper, the expectations would be a little bit lower. So
I mean, I think there's that kind of false assumption that if you've got a super strong brand with a really loyal following, they'll follow you to whatever product you make, and that's not necessarily the case, right? A lot of these folks they're already wedded to their iPhones or their Samsung Galaxy S8s or their Pixel phones, right? Like it's hard to change that out, right? So
Yeah.
just because you're a loyal Razer laptop gamer doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make that jump.
right, and there's also no headphone jack. I'd like to mention that.
A phone this large doesn't have a headphone jack?
It's just they
Wait,
hate
Phone that
headphone
large
jacks.
should make a friggin' cup of coffee.
It should have two headphone jacks.
No
I mean,
headphone jack. They just don't care anymore. There's just like the technology industry in general.
We
just
packed
has
in so
moved
much tech
on,
in this giant phone that
except a headphone jack.
Yeah.
It's
Listen,
just like
we live in a courageous world.
I know.
I just like it's very frustrating to me. Just put a headphone jack in your phones.
Or
and the
water resistance, right?
water resistance.
It's not water resistant.
Oh, that's the problem.
Yeah.
But that's also why it's not stupid expensive.
Oh, can I
It's
share?
$700.
Can I share something?
It's pretty
for a
expensive,
second?
but not stupid expensive. That's a next tier measurement.
It's pretty
Listen, I'm going on
expensive, man.
official business jargon here about how we categorize phone prices.
So
Stupid expensive.
So I got a Galaxy S8 like a week ago, and that's supposed to be waterproof,
water resistant
for 30 minutes in 1.5 meters of water.
Right.
So I dunked it in water yesterday just to try it out.
Yeah.
No, it was fine. It was amazing, but then it wouldn't charge, so I had to restart it. So do not mess with your phones.
I mean, it's
Just
really
take good
more
care
if like
of
you
them.
drop your phone accidentally. I don't think you like
In the
purposely-
toilet or something.
Yeah, it's not like you
but it
purposely
should-
go dunking your phone. That's not what it's really intended for.
Okay, I'll remember that next time.
I scoop
I hope
ice
my
cream.
phone is okay.
I scoop ice cream with mine. Meanwhile, do we know if it's going to be sold unlocked?
I believe so, right? Is this Sean's?
I'll check it out. I'll see if I can find that.
I think it's gonna be sold unlocked. Yeah.
Most of them are anymore.
Yeah. I mean, the next bit Robin was. I remember that.
In the meantime, let's take a one from Scott Myatt. Or no, let's jump to Syrinjoy first, actually, because we were talking about Sean's direct review, and that's something that caught my attention when he said how loud the stereo speakers are on that, and then they actually demonstrated like with the little piece of paper bouncing on.
Yep.
That was really kind of neat. He says they're arguably better than most laptop speakers he experiences these days. And Syrinjoy says, I don't mind bezels when they are packed with quality stereo speakers.
Totally.
Yeah, and that
do you guys
actually
agree with
kind of goes
with
back
that.
to the HTC One that Scott Coyle worked on. It was known for having these they branded it boom sound speakers, and they were basically the top and front bezels chin were basically speakers.
Yeah.
That's nice to see that that's actually been brought back, because if there's a utilitarian function to having that extra space, I think a lot of people are willing to give it a pass.
Yeah. As cool as that is, and yes, I'm kind of on board with that. I'm not listening to the speakers on a phone
neither
ever
am I.
for no reason.
I mean, I might
It's
have.
interesting because
I might have when I was single and I was just by myself. But like I've got a kid and wife who don't want to hear this crap.
with the iPhone 7, they even did advertising around the speaker.
Yeah.
You remember? They had
remember.
it like in a little bit of water because they added the water resistance, and then they had 2 sets of speakers. So, I don't know. Some of
but
these
those weren't
places-
like full blown speakers like the ones you'd see here. Like they just add a second set of
bad speakers.
yeah. Well, I won't say bad, but just sort of like average speakers,
Yeah.
right?
That's fine. And I mean, there's a time and a place for that, whether like you're out with somebody and you're like, hey, real quick, check this out.
Right.
I get that, but there's no point in my life when I'm going to actually depend on or care that much about the fidelity of the speakers because I'm not using them as a primary entertainment device.
Right.
So going back to the previous question, the Razer phone is available unlocked. It appears on razerzone.com, which is Razer's specific website.
I don't believe it's being sold by any of the carriers, right? This is sold directly through
Now you're
Razer.
quizzing me. I don't
No,
know.
I
these
think
answers.
that's the case. Like I don't think anyone's like, come to AT&T, we'll sell you a Razer phone.
Which is better than having an exclusive, I would imagine.
Yeah, except
Sorta?
part of the problem is like there's a whole chicken and egg problem with that, right? If you don't have any carrier relationships, that means you're basically shut out of a vast majority of Americans because most Americans buy their phones through their carriers. So they're really going after that. This is a niche audience phone.
Right. You really have to go out of your way to like get this phone and then set it up and
But
everything.
to your point, and I really hate to say you're right about things, but like the idea that like companies are doing things different, like we saw Essential earlier this year, now we're seeing Razer. Like it's kind of nice to see these other companies come out with different phones, even if there are a lot of challenges and struggles. And I don't think it'll sell that well. Like it's kind of cool to see other companies experiment with different devices.
And their best ideas will get implemented by, the top dogs. That's
Right.
that's what ends up happening.
Yeah, I would love to see some of these other companies adopt the 120 refresh rate on their phone.
I don't know what the benefit of that would
Just
be.
say that I've got a 120 refresh rate.
120 refresh. I guess that's like a new feed and speed that you can mention, when you're getting through like the processors.
So it's 60 megahertz is a normal phone, and it's 120 for this one. So again, it makes everything seem like it's moving faster because the screen's refreshing so much faster too.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I'm not that impressed, but okay.
It's great for gaming.
Speaking of gaming and niche audiences, do you think people watching internet streaming broadcasts will also get interested in the Razer phone and not only gamers? I think this is going to refer
that's
to
an
the fact
interesting point.
that it is a big, pretty
It's a video
screen,
f- yeah.
and the speakers itself comes into play as an entertainment device, as a
Right.
pseudo phablet.
I would agree in general. Any sort of like multimedia video would probably be useful for this phone. That being said, I don't think that any of the top phones available, like the iPhone 10 or the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, are really lacking in those areas.
Definitely.
Like maybe the speaker, because they did a really good job amping up the Dolby speakers, but otherwise you're going to get a really good screen on those.
And
other two
even
phones.
like with the screen size this small, generally like handheld devices, like as much as I was just talking up the 120 refresh rate, like it doesn't make that big of a difference on a small screen as opposed to like a giant.
It's not going to be like mind blowing like on a huge TV
also,
or something.
For folks who are just looking at this as an entertainment device, like I don't think they'll even know about it because it's unless they go on CNET. But you know, they don't know what Razer is. They don't know about its legacy as a gaming company, and so I don't know if they'd want to take a chance on a $700 phone from a company they've never really heard of.
So going back to Essential, by the way, do they have an exclusive with Sprint?
They do.
Okay, so that's the thing is that like I walk by one or two Sprint stores and they have Essential plastered all over the place. So I guess to a certain extent, Razer could have benefited from one of the 4 major carriers going out of their way to promote it.
Maybe not Sprint.
Well, maybe not Sprint, but you know, what was it? The Google Pixel 2
totally benefited from
has
the
the
Verizon
exclusive
deal.
with Verizon, and Verizon has been pitching that phone like
I
crazy.
see those commercials everywhere.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a benefit to partnering. Most consumers hate exclusives because it shuts them out of options, but handset makers like because they get that extra boost. And if you get the right partner, like Verizon, who's just basically blanketing the airways with commercials about Pixel phones, that gives you awareness and that gives you a lot of interest.
Yeah, and you can still buy a Pixel 2 if you want to, unlocked.
Yes.
Directly through Google.
All right, we're just about out of time, but Imagine Sagi says, so true that no one will buy it. It's really just for gamers, and I think we are in an era of niche phones like the upcoming Red phone. You think that's a trend we're going to be going down?
Phone.
Tell me about the Red phone.
That's the one with the like super
Mega
high-end
camera.
Yeah, it's from like Red, like they make the high-end cameras for films.
They were like
Weird.
the major innovators for 4K, and you see them in a lot of film projects these days.
That phone's supposed to be like crazy. Like you talk about like even an iPhone 10 being expensive. Like I think that's supposed to be super expensive.
I mean,
it's a camera with a phone on it, not a phone.
Pretty much, yeah.
I find it interesting that, you know, despite the phone market being as mature as it is, I mean, like cell phones have been around for a long time now. There's still these niches that different smaller players are trying to find to get in.
I mean, I think that's
because it is such a valuable industry. And
it is.
If you can even get a small piece, then it's useful.
Worth your while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. All these like purpose-built phones that remind me of the Garmin. Garmin actually made a phone once upon a time. Yeah,
really?
It was like during the dying days of GPS, but they're like
but like they've totally pivoted to start. Yeah, they've switched their company completely to doing wearables. So I mean, like they did that successfully.
No, that was back when like their, you know, the car GPS was their core business, and I mean they saw the writing on the wall that like smartphones were gonna just destroy that business completely. Like they came out with a phone, and it was just like a terrible phone with GPS on it. I just remember, like that was a novelty. That was back before like Google Maps. Apparently, it was a.
It's just basically it was like a GPS. Like it was just a different form factor for like a GPS.
Yeah, exactly. It was just slow and buggy. And just remember, this is like when other companies try to get into making phones, it doesn't always come up.
I don't know. Like that definitely piqued my interest about the Red phone. I'm certainly curious to learn more about that one.
All right, I've been sitting on this one as I think it's a perfect note to go out on. Specifically, Ben, this one's all up your alley. Scott Maya. Now people are heavily investing in Amazon hardware, tablets, Fire TV Echo. Do you feel this is the right time for Amazon to try another smartphone? I buy now.
We have discussed this a lot between Roger and
There's been a lot of debate.
There's been a lot of debate as to whether they would do it. Is it too late? I mean, to a certain extent, they don't have to anymore. Alexa is the big product for Amazon hardware, and they've already started integrating Alexa into other phones.
Yep.
So do they need to make their own phone at this point? Maybe, maybe not. There is a rumor from India from months ago about them developing the Ice phone. There was no, like...
That sounds fake.
It does sound fake, and it came out, and then there was absolutely no follow through afterwards.
Yeah.
Like everybody picked up the story.
But this was supposed to be like a really, really cheap phone.
Yeah,
right?
for the emerging market, theoretically. But I don't.
Which I had been saying for a long time makes a lot of sense for Amazon. Like a super cheap phone.
If they did in the emerging market, the problem is if they did something for like the U.S., Canada, Europe, and did a big splashy phone again, it might be too embarrassing or too much of a risk, even for Amazon.
I don't know if they'd even risk the the headlines of like the resurrection of the Fire phone. Like I don't think they don't want any mention of the Fire phone.
Like cue Phoenix Rising headlines and like a bunch of other bad puns.
Yeah.
I mean, like if it was successful, then it would be like a good Phoenix thing.
As opposed to a bad Phoenix.
I don't know. But either way, that's a great question.
Phoenix.
That's a great question, and it
very
definitely
observant.
hit on something that we've been talking about for a long time here.
Yeah, and I think it goes along the trend that like the phone is still the most important device in our hands. Like these companies want to have that presence, and while Amazon's been pretty successful at getting Alexa into other phones, it's not like the core part of any of these phones, and so they are kind of missing that. Like they've got a lock on the home with the smart speaker market, but they don't quite have that with the phone market, and they sort of see Google coming out there pushing Google Assistant so hard that I have to imagine some of them have to be worried a little bit about losing out on the phone market.
Yeah, and the problem, one of the many problems with the Fire phone is that I think that it was a little too obvious that they were basically just trying to create
sell you stuff.
Yeah, they were trying to create Amazon.com as a phone.
Right.
And there was just too much of that was pushed and forwarded into the device. And they did a much better job with Alexa of being like, this is something here to help you, and we're not just going to try to keep selling you stuff with this
I mean,
thing.
every feature on that phone was designed to make you buy more stuff.
Right. It was like pushing you into the Amazon.com funnel. So I would expect that if they ever did come out with another phone, that they wouldn't do that again.
So on a brief dovetail, I think that Amazon's going to bring back the wall phone, the actual corded phone in your house. And they call it the dot phone. And it's going to work like the buttons that you have for like Tide detergent and stuff, where it's just kind of omnipresent in your home.
Oh, would you pick up the phone and like say like, Jeff, I need more paper towels?
Yeah, exactly.
I would buy that. I would buy that.
Just for the retro feel.
Just to throw a wrench into things.
Hold on. Can it be red? Can it be like an emergency red phone? Like I'm the president?
The bat phone?
No, like I'm the president and
like
I have to like get in touch with my generals.
Batman's better than the president.
Okay, fine.
Well, but technically it was a phone for Commissioner Gordon. It wasn't really Batman's phone.
Batman's phone is red also.
Okay.
Is it?
Either way, I would buy an Amazon red phone. I really hope they're watching this. Make a red phone that you just call up Amazon customer service and they mail you stuff. Hopefully via drone.
All right, last but not least, Josh Boyd had a really great question that we can't let go ignored. Do you think Amazon would ever develop a wearable?
Ooh.
There's rumors of that already. There would be an Alexa wearable pair of glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like...
Is that the same deal, though? Like, you just sort of look at products and like, you want to buy that thing?
But there's like the bone induction thing or whatever again.
It just wink to buy.
Well, bone induction, that's just for like...
For
noise,
music.
audio. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But like you would say Alexa and it's like on your face and you could just ping it all the time. I don't see a value to that product because it's a little too weird. And
to be fair, there are rumors of pretty much every company developing a pair of smart glasses now, right?
Is
Apple
one of them?
Google. Yeah. I mean, Google's already tried, and then Amazon, yeah.
Yeah. So that's one that came out a couple months ago. So we'll see if that one happens.
Okay.
I don't know if it will. I don't know if people want Alexa on their face. That would definitely be interesting.
What if it just got built into a pair of headphones, though?
That would make a little more sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why you want to automatically insert it into your eye, but...
Alexa contact lenses.
Ew.
Oh.
Ew, sorry.
Well, if it saves me... contact lenses are expensive. It saves me money on contact lenses.
Yeah,
maybe I'd do it.
If you get 5%.
Half off on my contact lenses. Well, Alexa's embedded in
discount.
there. You have to talk to her all the time.
And apologies to everybody's smart home that we're triggering right now, as per always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we are out of time, though.
All right, so our 359 podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, not SoundCloud.
Not SoundCloud.
Feedburner, Google Play Music, the Amazon Echo, and of course, CNET.com.
CNET.com.
Thanks, everybody. See
See
you
you
tomorrow.
tomorrow.